I'm going to become a famous rapper. Like, I believe I can do it. I've got the talent. So I'm going to reach out to, you know, my street friends, the street rappers, and I'm going to start that journey. So in starting that journey, I meet some rappers from London, South London, and they're like, yeah, we've got this track, we want you to feature on it. So I've written this rhyme, this 16 bar, and I'm like, yeah, like this is me. I'm getting ready to do this. This is where my life's going to go. And I remember getting on the phone with one of them, and he was talking about Islam, and I'm like, I'm just confused at this point, because I'm like, how have we got here? Why are we talking about Islam? But there was something that he said. He was talking about Christmas, and he was like, you know, because the Christians, you know, this Christmas thing, and, you know, XYZ. And I was like, yeah, it was like Santa Claus and all this stuff doesn't really make sense. So I'm like, yeah, that's true. It doesn't make sense. And I remember I've had that experience of going into the church, questions not being answered. So there was a light bulb moment, and I was intrigued because they were rappers. Some would say gangster rappers, you know, with pasts of being in prison and, you know, being into crime and all these kind of things. So I'm not expecting to start getting religious conversations. And the first instance of me hearing that, I definitely wanted to know more. Definitely wanted to know more because of where it was being, because where it was coming from. And I can remember meeting up with, because there was a couple of them that I was going to do the track with, meeting up with one of them, and in the car, and some question, something that he said was about the tortures of the grave. And I was like, say what? Man, that was really enough. I've never heard of anything like that before. Never heard of the tortures of the grave. Never believed that there was anything other than you die and that's it. So when it's talking about tortures of the grave, my ears are perking up, because I'm confused and I'm scared, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So he's like, yeah, you know, when you die, you don't just die, you go to the grave, and then if you're a non-believer, then you're tortured in your grave. And I'm like, what do you mean tortured in your grave? I'm like, hold on, like, I'm still trying to process all of this information. So that then led me on to being, because I'm a very inquisitive person, I like to, once you've got my attention and once I'm interested in something, I'm, you know, and this is part of the neurodivergency, you know, the ADHD, where I'm focused. So I'm now, again, there's no internet, there's no, you know, there's barely any YouTube, and it's very basic stuff. But I'm going on Google, I'm going on Islam Q&A, and I'm starting to look into this religion, this Islam. Now, I started to believe, and I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This does make sense, but I'm not trying to cover up and, you know, pray 5 times a day and do all of that. Like, I'm out raving pretty much every weekend. I'm trying to establish myself as the first female rapper in the UK that's doing this kind of rap. You know, I'm not interested in changing my whole life. So that was not part of the plan. And, you know, Allah says in the Quran that you plan and Allah plans. And he also says, we found you lost and guided you. And these verses are just so relevant to my journey, because look at that. Look at that. Like, this, I'm not even looking for guidance. I'm not even searching for the truth, or, you know, like a lot of people are, or a lot of people have had that sort of religion in their household. I'm just trying to do my own thing and live my life my way, right? The Aisha Mercedes way. And so I'm like, I can't take all this on, but I believe. And I remember one of the brothers saying to me, like, I remember having this panicky moment where I'd probably read too much too soon, hyper focused and delved in, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to be Muslim now because I don't want to die as a non-Muslim. So I called him up and I'm crying, and I'm like talking about jinns and talking about, because I've read too much and everything's just like new to me, and it's like the jinns and the hereafter and the torture of the grave and all of these things. Like, I just need to become Muslim at the very least, just to just make sure that I don't die a disbeliever.